Produced by Victoire.
Welcome back, seekers of the truth, to Power and Glory, the podcast. I am one of your co-stars, the Master Emir. Along with my co-star, ladies and gentlemen, he is one half of some of the greatest tag teams to ever appear in professional wrestling. He is a former WWE and WCW pro wrestling superstar. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pretty Paul Roma.
Well, thank you, sir, for that great intro as usual. I guess we're not going to announce our other host because, chances are he's not going to say anything anyway. So why even bother? Maybe he'll show up.
He may show up. We have an issue. Andrew, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is Andrew Cabral. He's right here. He is a fantastic photographer joining us this week. But yeah, Andrew, in case you didn't know, we're talking about our third, Mr. Mario Mancini. This man is our co-star, but lately celebrity has gone to his head. He is just yeah. So he shows up when he wants to show up. He talks when he wants to talk. You've dealt with celebrities, Andrew.
Got it. Yes.
So before we go any further, Paul, what do the fans need to do?
Well, I have a really bad memory. As I'm getting older, but at least I remember that they have to hit that subscribe button.
That's right.
I mean, it's not that hard. You know what I'm saying? It's not that difficult. If I can remember that, they can remember that.
Exactly. There you go. Words of wisdom from Paul Roma. Smash that subscribe button. Hit the likes. Consider becoming a member. Join us over in our, Paul, dare I say, R-rated section of our members site here on the channel.
Yeah. For not the meek and mild.
No. Exactly. Not the meek and mild, but the only way you can join is on the computer or TV, because for some reason the join button is not available on iPhones. So just remember that, ladies and gentlemen. So, Paul, we've got our guest Andrew here today, a photographer extraordinaire, and I wanted to talk all about photography. Andrew, I want to get into your story, but of course, before we started hitting record, Paul, we were talking about back in the day, the WWE photographers, and maybe that's something that no one's ever touched on before. Nowadays, a photographer will typically just appear backstage at a wrestling event. They'll set up a little section where they'll take photographs impromptu, as it were. Paul, was it like that back in your day?
So a little bit. So they would set up an area, take pictures of certain guys. A lot of the pictures were taken during the match in the ring. Mm-hmm. Some photographers like to get your attention before the match started. Take a quick shot or two of you, and again impromptu. There was no I don't even think the people picked up on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
maybe the ones right behind the photographer.
Yeah.
Because they could see he's taking a quick shot of the person. And funny that you mentioned that, because I have a little story about that. Yeah, a little story. So I was on tour over in Europe, and one of my pictures was in the magazine.
Okay. And
I said I had gotten on the tour bus, and a photographer was sitting there, our main photographer, and he goes, "Hey, you're in the magazine," and I said, "Oh, great!" So I grab a magazine, I flip it over, and see where I am, and I turned to him and I said, "Let me ask you a question. Why is it that all the shots you take of me are horrific?" And he goes, "Well, what do you mean? I think that's a great shot." I said, "Well, that's your opinion." Yeah. I said, "But you get the worst angles." Yeah. There's nothing happening in the shots. They're just bad shots. Mm-hmm. He finally took a good one, and I commended him on it. And I said, "Now this is a great shot."
Yeah.
But photographers can make you or break you when it comes to that, because think about it. If you're in Hollywood, mm-hmm. everything has to be perfect when they take that shot, right?
Yeah.
The makeup has to be perfect. The lighting has to be perfect. The actress or actor has to approve of that shot for the most part, or at least their handler has to approve of that shot.
Yeah.
You don't just take that shot and it goes. Mm-hmm. It's like any picture. You get somebody that's been arrested, and they take, their hair's all disheveled and They look like they just woke up out of bed. Then they're looking mean, mean look on their face. And they put that on because they want you to see what a horrible person is, instead of, that cameo shot, because that's not going to help your narrative.
No.
Right? Making him look like the bad guy.
Yeah.
And this is what it was like in wrestling. This guy was probably didn't like me, and that's okay. You know what? That was a lot of the people's consensus as far as other wrestlers. I didn't care if they liked me or not. I wasn't there to be liked by them. Yeah. But yeah, I let him have it on the bus in front of all the guys. Yeah. He wasn't too happy about it, but it was too bad. It was just, again, take a shot of me, like say with my back to you, and then put in the magazine. That makes no sense. No. Can't even tell who it is.
Right, exactly.
But and I'm exaggerating a little bit as far as that goes. But so yeah, photography is very important. It can, I think, for the most part, it can really not so much break you, but it could do some harm.
Yeah. Well, let's bring in our professional photographer right now, Andrew Cabral, out here in the greater Palm Springs area. Andrew, it's an absolute pleasure. This is a photographer that I work with, that, of course, the epic Doug Mallow has worked with. So, Andrew, hearing what Paul had to say, do you want to piggyback off on that first about, maybe some of your experiences?
Yeah, a couple things. So the first thought that I had when you were speaking, Paul, is you were saying like these photographers would get you, and like the shots would look horrible. And it's funny. The first thing I thought in my head was, okay, well, what do you like, or how do you like to be shot? When you see a picture of yourself, what do you want that to look like? And I've noticed every client's different in their preferences, their likes, their do's and their don'ts. Every face is different. We all get ready in the morning, look in the mirror. We're very aware of what compliments us and what doesn't. So when I go out and I meet clients, I'm always thinking, okay, like technically I'm going to get the lighting right. I'm going to make sure the camera settings are right. I'm going to do the technical parts that make a perfect picture. But then I snap the shot, and I'm going to flip the camera around and show the client, because I want them to kind of see the initial, like, hey, here's the unedited, what I just shot and captured. And they're going to share their thoughts. And over time, I've noticed if you pay attention to what the client likes, and you can take a bunch of different things, a bunch of different poses, get their thoughts, and just hone in on like what that specific person wants. Because some people prefer the high angles, some people prefer low angles. A lot of people seem to think they have a best side of their face. In my line of work, I usually tend to shoot people that looks fantastic, both sides. Our host is one example. It's like, that looks all great to me, all angles. But some people will say, oh no, only my left, only my right. And it's your job as the photographer to cater to those wants. And I think that's one of the things that makes a good or a bad photographer. How are they willing to work with you to get an image that you want? Yeah. They should know.
Well, we weren't shown images. Number one, we weren't asked. Number two, if you're going to get an action shot, well, I'm known for my drop kick. I'm known for my leapfrogs. Yeah. Get me doing something like that.
Yeah. And that's, I should have asked you that. That's not a difficult thing. Or even after the fact, maybe the first shoot went out and you were like, out of everything, these couple shots are my favorite. And then it's kind of on the photographer to go, okay, like Paul wanted these specific shots. I'm going to go heavy into those moments and get him what he wants. At least that's my approach to it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a great approach. I don't think that, again, I forget his name. I don't think that he had that approach. He went out and he snapped away, and then he just took a picture and threw it in the book. It's like, taking a shot from, a bad side angle where you barely see who it is, or a full back shot, and then saying, Paul Roma. Like, nobody can see who that is.
Everybody has to go, oh, I guess so. We'll take the word.
That's what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I got to a point where, and again, very unprofessional of me, but I was just that loose cannon. on the tour bus when I walked on, and he said something about me being in the magazine, and I just fired off at him. And he's like, "Well, what's wrong with that shot?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Really?" So and it wasn't about being stuck up. It's about you're promoting me.
Yeah.
There should be a good shot promoting me.
Yeah.
Not some side angle or me, all right. So if somebody hits someone else with a drop kick, did you see their face? Or are you telling everybody that this is Joe Blow, hitting them with the drop kick? Like, it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
To me, his excuse, not his answer, his excuse didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And then what's funny after that? I was in the magazine. Well, what a great shot.
Yeah.
My goodness. How that worked out, But again, I looked the bad guy on the tour bus because I called him out in front of everybody. But that's who I am. That's who I was back then.
Yeah. Well, at least you got it done, Paul. You get it done. I mean, that's the thing that, especially in this day and age, not a lot of people are like that, and we should bring some of that back.
So even though that was about me at that particular point, it was also about everybody.
Yeah.
And that's, one thing, and I even teach my daughter that it may not help you, but it may help somebody else down the line.
Mm-hmm.
It may not help you immediately, but it may help others. Yeah. And that's really what you want to do, is have an impact to help others. Yeah. So, what you say and what you do can change other people's lives.
Yeah, very, very much. Very true. Paul, I wanted to bring this up to you because obviously there's a difference between action shots, and Andrew, I'm sure you're aware of this, between action and studio, of course. Mm. So the studio shots, because now WWF was hot on this in the early 90s, and there were some great shots of you with Hercules, Power and Glory. The promo shots that they put on the action, the collectible wrestling cards that they used to sell, the proper 8x10s. Now, what was that like for you guys? Again, were those shot when you were on tour at events, or did you go into the office to shoot those specifically?
Mostly done at TV tapings.
Okay.
That was a time when we had basically all the time in the world to get things done. Mm-hmm. So, that's when they did a lot of interviews, weeks down the line. They'll let you know what's going on, who you're wrestling against. We need an interview for this. It's at this arena, blah, 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 blah. We need a photo shoot for this. Go see so-and-so, over here. That's mm-hmm. how they did it.
Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting. So Andrew, again, with you, now you've dealt with some influencers and stuff. Andrew, have you ever worked with celebrities as well? I forgot to ask you.
Celebrity interaction was really just red carpet stuff, and then behind the stage at the Palm Springs International Film Festival.
Okay.
So to the degree of intimacy that is, it's not a lot of, oh, hi, how's your day going? Nice to meet you. It's like, all right, here's the client, here's everything. Let's get the shots. All right, they're on to do the next important thing.
Yeah.
Meeting.
But would you set up a full backdrop for that, Andrew, when you've been on location?
The places that I've shot had that provided for them, because like you're saying, Paul, TV stations, I'm thinking like they probably just have that there because you have videographers that need to use it. They got to get their segments, and they just take advantage of like, okay, cool, it's here. Let's use this chance to also get the photos in. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the capacity I've done A-list celebrities with.
Okay.
And then other events, more of a run and gun thing. I have just the flash that's on top of the camera, and I got to get what I can get. I don't have the luxury of setting up the studio. So it's a mix.
Yeah. But the photography goes a lot further, because Paul, I'm thinking back to the 90s. So I'm thinking about makeup, because obviously these days, Andrew, you have a fantastic program. Photographers have programs where they can soften the skin. They can do all this kind of stuff. But back then, I'm not sure if it was the same, going back to the early 90s. So was makeup involved, Paul, back in the day? Did they?
No, not at all.
No makeup? Okay.
As is.
Get
in your wrestling gear, and we're going to take some photos. They could care less about the little shine on the end of your nose or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because now obviously the programs are fantastic that you have, Andrew. They can do so many things. They can change people's, well, I don't say change the appearance. They can just enhance the quality of something or whatnot. But also the difference. I don't know, Andrew, if you studied that, but back then were the cameras as well? They weren't HD back then, were they?
Not at all. No, we had film.
So it
Film,
would have,
baby. That's how it was. Like Paul, you said, you said earlier, oh, like the guys never showed me the shots. My initial thought was like, oh, the way I do, where I snap the picture and I turn it around, you can look at the screen.
yeah.
There have been instances where I take my dad's old Nikon film camera out in a shoot just for fun, and I have a model shooter with that, and I go, yeah, just like digital. I go like, hey, you want to see? And she goes, looks at just a flat back of a camera. I'm like, oh, you can't because it's film.
Yeah.
You would have had to wait for the shots to come out, and then if you were to approve them, you'd have to like leaf through each one, chuck the ones that you don't want, and say, here you go. Here's what I like.
Yeah.
No, we didn't have the ability to like go in and do a quick little like, all right, skin touch up, let's get rid of the shine, and then show the client. It's like now you kind of, if they were nice enough to let you choose, say, hey, here we go. Now let's edit these. Or maybe they just said, we're gonna pick for you. There's no time for that. Let's go.
Yeah. But before we kind of lead this segment out, I want to give Andrew a little bit of a spotlight. So Andrew, tell a brief synopsis of your story then, how you got into this, what you've been doing, and then we'll put over where people can get a hold of you, get in contact with you for their photography, and then also what you and I discussed the other night about wrestling promos. So go ahead, Andrew, this is your moment.
Got it. So I did not expect to get into photography. 2017 already? No, 2015, my dad passed away from colon cancer. And we are our parents' kids, whether we like to admit it or not. Like I would talk to my mom and just do whatever. And she would go, oh my God. I'd say, what? And she goes, I'm talking to your dad right now, just the way you move, the way you talk. And she's like, I still love you, but you need to go away for a second. They split when I was young. So I did a bit of soul searching. And it's like, I know I got this part of my dad, but what other things, what other interests, stick? I couldn't do bicycle riding because I don't look good in spandex. Woodworking, I couldn't make a good birdhouse. So that was out. But photography was a hobby he had where I picked up some of his old digital cameras. And once I saw what you could do with manipulating a picture post, on Lightroom or Photoshop, it's like, wow, you can really do a lot. I just kept kind of going with it. I came to learn that like I prefer to shoot people, not landscapes. It's just the interaction of the person, the kind of collaboration that happens. So I did that for fun for a couple of years and met some people through Instagram, just messaging guys saying like, hey, I love your work. Hope I can be that good one day. That led to some of them saying, hey, you know what? Come shoot this event with me. And okay, cool. You did a good job. Here's some money. Are you free next week? And then that leads to more people. And then out here in Palm Springs, there's a need for photographers. So I'd meet people at events and I'd give them my card and they say, oh, great. I've got a birthday party coming up. Or, hey, I've got this like charity function. And that kind of just snowballed into now it pays for my bills. And the learning is always there. That's the other thing I liked about this. There's always new things to learn. There's no specifically perfect way to shoot. You can do it however you want to do it. And there's always new things to buy. Which appeals to that terrible side of me. It's like, oh, I got a new lens, this new camera, this new light. So it's always interesting. And here I am. What am I, 6, 7, 8 years after the fact? Almost, but I've enjoyed it.
And I can attest, Paul, I tell you this, and viewers, I tell you this, any pro wrestler or anybody, in fact, looking for some great photography out in the Palm Springs area, maybe you're somewhere else, maybe you're in LA. Andrew, I've put your handle underneath your name on the screen. It will not be there now because we're recording, but it will be there when this goes live. So if you want to get in contact with Andrew, you can do so via Instagram, probably the best way, Andrew, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, by the best way, get in contact with him. And then also, Andrew, you and I discussed the other day because Andrew's actually, Paul, he's been helping me with promos. We've actually been setting up inside of his studio and shooting high quality professional promos. So Andrew and I discussed the other day if there are any pro wrestlers out there in looking of getting some high quality promos, studio style, with high quality sound, high quality photography, videography, rather, again, get in contact with Andrew or get in contact with me, and we'll set up a time and we'll get you set up and get some quality promos out there for you. So
inexpensive, right?
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Andrew offers good prices. He's reasonable prices, and he's a top-notch professional. You're going to see this guy one day touring with a professional wrestling company. Somehow you've landed into this field now, Andrew. I don't know how it happened, but you're going to get roped into pro wrestling now somehow.
Sounds good. I'm down.
Paul, any closing statements for this segment?
No, I thought this was great. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I most certainly did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I thank everybody again. Hit that subscribe button. When you see Andrew's information on the bottom of the screen, give him a call. It can't hurt.
Yep. No, it can't hurt. It can only make you better. I tell you that.
Yeah, and not only that, probably put a little makeup on you and make you look a lot better.
We can take care of that too. Andrew, any closing remarks from you?
Thanks for having me on. This is a great time. It was great to meet you, Paul. And I liked hearing your behind the scenes stories with photographers. I start drooling every time I get a chance to hear things like that. So it was cool to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. What was a pleasure having you on, Andrew. Yes. Of course, I'll be seeing you Friday, Andrew. And our viewers out there, thank you for taking a little bit of your time sharing it with us. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on Power and Glory, the podcast. Take care, and God bless.